Raymond was saying, in order to get to that mindset, it's kind of one of those things where, some people are fortunate enough to kind of be born with it or grow up in a situation to where that's just how their mind works. And I'm all about accountability. That's my number one motto. So I do think that if you're out there and listening right now and you think it's somebody else's fault, why you feel the way that you feel, and you're drinking every day and it's because of your trauma as a kid, it's because of the trauma, because of the military, then I encourage you to say, no, it's because of the choices that I've made. Because as soon as you say it's because of what I did, you can change it. As soon as you say, it's not my environment impressing upon me, because I can't change that. I can go somewhere else. I guess you could technically. But once you internalize that and say, it's me, I am the problem. How do I fix this problem? Now you can remove yourself from that trauma. You can go get help. You can, if you need medication, we're not big on medication, but if you need it, you take it until you don't need it. If you need a stable dose the rest of your life, you take it, because it's all about that accountability and finding that peace, and not constantly, when you're in a fog of blame, or you're in a fog of like a drug-induced fog, it's hard to see clearly. So you got to get to a point of clarity, and you can have moments of clarity inside the fog. If you're watching, I hope this is one for you. That this is a moment of clarity of you saying, okay, I need to put the bottle down. I need to start taking accountability for my actions, because you can have a healthy and happy life if you say, I can have that life. I can give myself that life, because right now I'm giving myself this current life. And that would be my advice.
Yeah. And to go even further into that, because I like this discussion, there are a few things that can help you eliminate some of the stressors, but there's positives and negatives to it all. So for example, one of the things, I'm going to name 4 things that help you deal with stress. And one of them is, do you have any control over it? Because the more control you feel like you have, the less stressed out you are. And then, but a lot of people don't feel like they have control. You know what I mean? So there's positives and negatives to that. It's like, well, how much control do you actually have? And, if you subscribe to God, like I subscribe to there being an ultimate intelligence. So it's like, I don't have any control in that sense, but in the sense of me being me, I have all the control. So in one sense, I have all the control, like Trent was saying. In another sense, I have none of the control, but that's good, because that means that somebody else with the higher intelligence is in control and I'm okay. You know what I mean? As long as I take responsibility for my part in this system of ultimate control. And then the next one is it predictable? You know what I mean? So some people, if they can predict a stressor, then they can prepare themselves for it. But the problem with that is, if you can predict it for a time, like some people are less adept at being able to accept it because they can predict it. It's like, if I can predict it 10 seconds ahead, then maybe I can deal with it. But if it's like, 10 minutes down the line, I know somebody's going to shoot me in my head, or I know that I'm going to get into a fight, or I know that I can't pay my bills, or whatever it is, equal in nature, different in degree, from the highest to the lowest, that might be harder. But once again, I always bring the creator back into it. And I'm like, well, I can't predict it ultimately, but the creator has done all the predictions for me. Like life, it's all inevitable. So now I just have to learn to accept the inevitability of it and appreciate the voyage, the experience, and all the little things that come along with it. And then another one is, well, do I have an outlet? You know what I mean? Like, do I have can I exercise? Do I have musicality? Do I run? You know what I mean? Like, what am I doing? Do I play games? It's like, you got to find an outlet and something. But the negative is, well, what if your outlet is negative? What if your outlet is alcohol?
Healthy.
Okay, well now, you need a healthy outlet, because if your outlet is alcohol, now you're decreasing your brain volume, structure, functionality, optimization. You know what I mean? Like if it's marijuana, it might be good for a time. It might be good periodically, but then it might have negative impacts on your memory. You know what I mean? Like, or, like your functionality once again. So you got to have a positive outlet. And then the last one is support.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, Raymond, what is your support system? If you're being supported by people who only support violence, then you're going to most likely perpetuate violence. So you have to find a good support system, and those people have to be healthy as well. Because if you have an unhealthy support system, then you're going to have an unhealthy life, because that's what you're feeding off of, because it's all about energy. We're all vibrations, correspondence. We're all corresponding with each other through vibrations, and we're feeding off of each other. So if, like that kid with the poor water system, if he goes and he drinks that water and it's bad, then what happens to his system?
Right.
It negatively impacts his system. So you need someone that's going to give you that bottle of water, that fresh water, so that system can function optimally. And so we consider these 4 factors and the positives and negatives, and try to narrow down the margin of error, and find healthy recourse with all of them.
Yeah, that's
absolutely totally agree with all of those. Definitely.
Raymond, since we're getting into it now, unless you have something you want to add to the addiction topic, I'd like to kind of move to kind of our last question.
I think no.
Let's go ahead.
I was going to say one last note. Yeah, no, I totally agree with you guys. Like I said, I went to the VA to get psychotropics. However, they didn't get back to me until 4 months. At that point,
wow,
I already had the clarity that my therapy was music. But imagine somebody else, they made another choice, and it's happened before. I've had so many people, so many veterans have killed themselves in front of the VA. So that's happened before. But luckily, I was at a better point mentally, where I was able to recognize that I didn't need medication, nor did I want it, to make me feel better, because I do also subscribe to what you're saying as far as like the accountability. I may talk to somebody and they may be like, you made me feel this way. And I'm like, I don't mean to sound like a jerk, or you may think that I'm sounding like a jerk, but you made yourself feel that way. That was your choice to feel that way. Because sometimes somebody may inadvertently do something, but sometimes you also have a choice. I'm not saying every time, because every situation is different. So please don't misinterpret what I'm saying, guys, if you're listening out there. But sometimes for example, somebody cuts you off on the road and you don't know why, you have a choice whether to get angry or to be like, oh, they must be late for a dance recital for their kid. You see what I'm saying? So I'm saying situations like that, I have a choice whether to be upset or not, to be angry, and then to carry that trauma with me and take it out on somebody else, or I could let them pass me and be like, you know what, they really need to get to wherever they're going. Let them do that, and then they may see you smile at them while they're doing that, and now they take that with them. They take a positive response to it. I mean, I've had situations to where, just a quick story, I had a situation to where after I got back, I was very aggressive because I still had that, militaristic vibe on me. And I snapped on my friend. He didn't say anything at that point. And then when I calmed down, I was like, hey, sorry, bro, I snapped. He's all, oh, yeah, I noticed that. And he's all, I just wanted to not make it worse. And I wanted to, show you some empathy and compassion at that time. And now that's changed me for the rest of my life. Now I'm able to tell that story to individuals like you, to be like, hey, you know what? Try to put yourself in somebody else's shoes or boots, whatever you want to call it. And then realize that you have a choice to feel this way or that way in all situations. And it's up to you sometimes. And you have that level of accountability, at least. Yes, not every situation's the same, because people could say, oh, well, I'm doing this, or you don't understand. Yeah, no, I don't understand unless we have that conversation. However, we do have agency. We do have accountability on small levels where we could make the smaller choices to affect the final outcome. So that's all I wanted to caveat that conversation with. But I felt like you guys really tied a bow on it.